So Joy, like a lot of our characters, is going to start off with a pretty basic geometric shape. And in her case, we're going to start off with an oval. Now for this, we're going to draw as many shapes as we need until we get the shape that we're looking for. You want something about the size of like a lemon, or like a kind of smaller potato. Now you're noticing I'm drawing as many shapes as I need until I kind of find the shape that I want to keep. You're going to do this and just keep your arm using more of your shoulder rather than your wrist or your elbow. It'll actually make it a little easier, come a little bit more natural. Now once we have our basic shape in place, we're going to be getting some construction lines for Joy here. Now the first line we're going to be adding is going to be a horizontal line, or sorry, a vertical line. It's going to cut our shape right in half. Now the next line we're going to be making is going to be a horizontal line. We're going to go a little below the halfway point, like say 60, 40, about there. And then we're going to take this all the way across here. And there we have Joy. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Obviously we have a few more steps that we have to do. Now the first one we're actually going to start working on for her features is actually be her shoulders and that little sundress that she wears. Now to do this and keep her shoulders even, what I like to do is just give a rainbow right underneath her shoulders here. It's about as wide as her head is. Now from here, again, all this is still very light at this point. We're going to connect this up with a pair of like curved lines coming up right into the bottom of our oval. And believe it or not, this will be the first shape we're going to start blocking in. So I'm going to find my favorite lines that I like, and I'm just going to go ahead and slowly begin to darken those lines in place. And what you're noticing here is that it'll begin to make my construction lines begin to fade into the background. At the same time, it makes the lines I want to keep a little bit more distinct. Now with those shoulders in place, we're now going to give her for that little sundress that she has. So all it's going to start with is just a curved letter U right here at the base of her neck. And just build that up slowly and lock that line in once you're comfortable with where it's at. And for the sides, we're just going to take two lines, we're just going to pull them in. They're not going to come straight down, they're actually going to kind of pull a little bit towards the middle here. And the final bit of decoration for this dress is just going to be the like little sunburst or starburst that she has. And these are just 5 lines kind of sticking out at intervals, almost like you're making the outline of a star. And then between those, we're just going to be adding little dots through here. Now, the next part for this is we're going to be giving the shape of Joy's hair. And we're going to keep this still pretty light at this point because we don't want to lock this in just yet before we get the silhouette in place first. So we're going to start off by making a curve. It's going to follow the basic shape of the oval we made earlier. And we're going to take this all the way over to the side here until we're going to come to a bit of a point. Now, fun fact, all of the emotions were based around a particular shape. Joy's was based off a star, and we're kind of showing that point here at the very top. Now on this side, we're actually making a stretched out S-curve. So we'll be connecting to the side of our oval and it's coming up this way. Now you want to make sure you don't go too wide on this, otherwise you will have less joy and more someone who wants to talk to the manager. But once we have the silhouette in place, we're going to go ahead, as we lock in this hair, we're going to give it a little bit of texture here. Now from this point, as I start to find my lines that I want to keep, I'm just going to be adding what we call like blades of grass or like sharp fin shapes throughout the hair coming down. And over on this side here, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just kind of going with what feels good and what feels like right for certain spots. So you can have fun with this. You can have her be like much more smoothed out, like say she's becoming more like two-dimensional because she followed Bing Bong the wrong way. Or you can make her like, you know, really frazzled out, like once again she followed Bing Bong the wrong way. And then, once this is in place, we're going to go ahead and start giving some of the first features for Joy here. And the first one we're going to do is just going to be the outline for her nose. Now, it's just going to be a curved rainbow here in the middle of her features. And we're going to use this to actually kind of base everything else off of here. And we're going to be making the outline of her smile. Now, Joy, obviously, is a very joyful and very happy character all the time. So we're going to give her a big, wide, laughing smile. So for this, we're going to start off with this curved letter U. And it's going to come basically to the halfway point between the edges of our oval and our center line. Now, once you find your favorite spot, favorite lines here, we're going to be dropping this down to a much deeper letter U, just to give it that really wide, very happy, laughing smile. And really to show how wide she is smiling here, we're also going to give her smile lines. These are very simple, just these curved rainbows at the end of where her smile meets. And really take the time to lock in these lines here now. Now the final step for Joy's mouth that we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving her her tongue and her top row of teeth. So her tongue is very simple. It's just going to be a little hill here on the sides, kind of on the bottom, kind of just tucked off to the right. And her teeth are just going to be another curved letter U coming right from the top, just a little ways down here. And once you find your shape, lock this in. And to give a little bit of contrast, I'm actually going to shade in the back of her mouth, just to make, one, it's going to clean up some of the extra lines that we don't need anymore. And two, just give a little bit more contrast for our character, really make these features a little more distinct. But believe it or not, we have actually just gotten to our halfway point. So I want to do a quick check-in with everybody. How are we all feeling about our drawing so far? Yeah. Okay, I'm hearing a lot of very middling, less joyful reactions to that. But let me ask a different question. Are we having fun?
Yeah!
That's the most important point. So I know some folks are working on some lines, that's fine. I'm going to give you a chance to catch up. I'm going to give you a little bit of fun facts about this character. So Joy is a very bright, and I do mean this literally, character. She is so bright that she doesn't actually have a shadow. And if you ever seen this movie, she's made out of all these particles, and it looks almost like kinetic sand. Now, initially, that was only going to be for Joy, because it's actually an incredibly difficult technique to do. But when the producer saw it, he loved it so much, he wanted it for all the emotions. Now, this did increase the budget significantly, but I think the end result was really worth it. So it looks like everyone's looking up. Are we ready to keep going? Woo! All right, let's keep going then. So now that we're at this point, and now that we have our smile in place, I'm actually going to be locking in our circle from our halfway point down. So find your favorite lines and kind of make your way around here. Bless you. I hope you're not allergic to happiness. Okay, so once we have this built up, we're actually going to start making the rest of Joy's features here to finish off our drawing. So the next step we're going to be doing here is going to be giving her her eyes. Now Joy, as I said earlier, she's a very wide-eyed and happy character. And to show that, her eyes actually take up almost 3/4 of the space that we have from our center line coming up to the top of our oval. And they're going to be these big oval egg shapes. Now, don't lock these in just yet, because you do need to do a few more things before we're ready to lock them in. But make sure they're also roughly about the same size. But once you're happy with where they're at, go ahead and start to go back and lock these shapes in place. But we're not gonna lock in the bottom of our ovals just yet. I'll show you why in just a second. So the reason we're not gonna lock those in is because she is smiling so wide, her cheeks are actually pushing up a little bit on her eyes. And we're gonna show that by making these small little curves or rainbows right underneath either side. And from there, then you can actually go back and make sure you really lock in the rest of our ovals here. But unfortunately, we have a Joy who looks like she just got off the Haunted Mansion. So we're going to do a process called waking up the character. Now to wake her up, all we're going to do is we're going to be adding in her pupils. And it's going to be another set of ovals. Now you can have fun with this. You can have her looking around, you can have her looking up to the side, but I have her looking out at all of us. And I'm just going to have them be at this lower corner, and you're going to want to draw the whole shape in place. In fact, there's a little small there. This will be taking up about half the size of our space here. And then do the same thing over here on the other side. Again, trying to make them about the same size as much as possible. But you can have her with stars in her eyes, or you can have her like Step Bing Bong's wagon, or you can have a core memory here. But once these are in place, we're going to go back in and we're really going to shade these in. Actually make this the darkest point of your drawing as possible. Now we make the eyes the darkest point because we always want to have the first attention to any character be their eyes. So whenever we're doing sketches like this, by making them the darkest point, whoever's looking at our artwork will be drawn there first. And we still a lot of emotion, ironically, with the character's eyes themselves. And you can take this time to go back in and really lock in the rest of her eyes at this point. I'm also going to go ahead and build up what's called a lash line here on the top of her eyes on the side. And we add this in to a lot of characters just to have better distinction whenever we're drawing or animating them. So if they're closing their eyes, it's very easy to tell where that line is. But obviously, we are still needing to finish off the rest of her hair, and that's going to be our next step. So this is going to be a kind of a two-part process. The first one we're going to do is we're actually going to take a line, and we're going to be making like a shark fin shape, coming from the side here and cutting right across the front of Joy's features, just past that halfway point. And then from here, we're going to be bringing this up again, and then we're going to be making another stretched out S-curve, and we're going to tuck it over here on the side. But you can have fun with this one too. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this, and if you go in front of her eye, that's completely okay. We're going to add in another blade of grass shape there at the very end, and we're going to go back in, lock in our favorite shape here. And then we're going to do one last line to lock in, which is just going to be the rest of this line coming up here on the side, following the curve of our first oval, or any favorite line you want to keep from that point. And finally, this last step is extra credit, but I think it adds just a little bit more for this character. We're going to go back, use the side of our pencil again, and we're going to go ahead and lightly shade in her hair. This is just to give, again, a little bit more contrast here. And at this point, you can do whatever you like. You can add in the other emotions behind her. You could add in some of the newer emotions that you've seen Inside Out 2. You could have anxiety hanging over her shoulder like it does for me every day. Exactly. But then, again, try to use the side of your pencil because it goes a little faster, but also it does for a very important technique for every artist. Doing this keeps your pencil sharp. Coming here to the Academy, we teach you all the secret tricks of being an artist here. But once you have finished off anything else you want to add in, the most important step for any piece of art is to find your favorite spot on your page, and you're going to sign your name, because now each and every one of you have drawn your very own, very happy, very, very joyful joy. Did we all have fun? Yeah! Great, because now we're going to have an art show. Because I want to see each and every one of these. So on the count of 3, go to turn your drawing boards around. So on 3 now. 1, 2, 3, joy! Oh, you guys did a great job. Very well done there in the top row. Great work over here. Very nicely done. Great line work there. Very good. That's the happiest expression anyone's ever put on her.
Good job, Mommy.
Great job here. Great job here. All of you, give yourselves a round of applause.